The storm never stopped on the frozen planet of Cryos. Snow fell like sharp knives in the sky. The wind screamed like it was alive. In the middle of this endless white death, a lone figure moved slowly. She was an alien mother. Her body was thin, her skin pale blue, cracked by the cold. Her breathing was weak. In her arms, she carried something small and still. Her child. The child was wrapped in a torn thermocloth, but it was useless now. Ice covered the child's fingers. The small chest barely moved. The mother knew the truth. Her child was freezing to death. She stopped walking and fell to her knees in the snow. The cold burned her legs, but she did not scream. She had no strength left. Around her, the land was empty. No cities, no lights, no hope. Once, this planet had shelters. Once, there were heat towers and safe zones. But that was before the Great Winter. When the temperature dropped beyond survival, the leaders made a choice. They saved the strong. They saved the soldiers. They saved those who could still work. The weak were left behind. Mothers, children, the old. They were called acceptable loss. The alien mother remembered the announcement clearly. Resources are limited. Survival requires sacrifice. She remembered holding her child tighter that day. Now, there was nothing left to sacrifice. The child made a small sound, a weak breath. The mother looked down, her large dark eyes filled with pain. "I am here," she whispered in her own language. "I will not leave you." She pressed her forehead against the child's frozen head. Her tears turned to ice before they fell. Her species believed in endurance. They believed in logic. Emotion was weakness. But in this moment, she did not care. She had walked for hours, hoping to find a shelter that no longer existed. Her energy cell was empty. Her body was shutting down. She knew what would happen next. The storm would take them. Slowly, quietly, she closed her eyes. The wind howled louder, as if answering her surrender. That was when something strange happened. Through the storm, a faint signal appeared. Not light, not sound. Heat. The mother's eyes opened slightly. She thought it was death playing tricks on her mind. Heat did not exist here anymore. She forced herself to look. Far away, through the white storm, something moved. A shape, tall, upright, walking. "No," she whispered. "This is not real." No creature walked in open cryo storms. Even machines froze in minutes. The shape came closer. Each step was slow, heavy but steady. The mother's heart began to beat faster. The figure was not gliding, not crawling. It was walking. As it moved closer, she saw colors that did not belong on cryos. Dark gray, burnt orange, scratched metal. A suit, a survival suit. Her breath caught in her throat. No alien suit looked like that. The figure stumbled but did not fall. Snow covered its shoulders. Ice clung to its helmet. Then it stopped. The mother tried to stand but failed. Fear and hope mixed inside her. The figure turned its head. Two glowing lenses looked directly at her. For a moment, the storm felt silent. The figure raised one arm slowly. "Hello." A distorted voice came through the wind. The word meant nothing to her, but the tone did. Gentle, careful. The mother pulled the child closer, ready to protect it even in death. The figure stepped closer, crunching through the ice. Now she could see it clearly. It was not her species. Not any species she knew. The being removed frost from its helmet visor. Behind the glass was a face. Pink skin. Strange flat nose. Two tired eyes. A human. The mother had heard stories. Humans were new to the stars. Unpredictable. Emotion-driven. Dangerous. She expected fear. She expected aggression. She expected him to take what little heat she had left and leave. But the human did none of that. He looked at the child. He froze. The human dropped to one knee in the snow, ignoring the storm. "Hey, hey," he said softly, even though she could not understand the words. He scanned the child with a device on his wrist. The screen blinked red. The human's jaw tightened. The mother watched carefully. She was too weak to fight, too tired to run. The human looked up at her. His voice was calm. "Still alive," he said. The translator in her suit barely worked, but those words came through. Her eyes widened. Alive. The human reached toward his chest. Fear surged through her. But instead of a weapon, he pulled out a glowing core. Heat poured from it like a small sun. Her instinct screamed. That core was keeping him alive. If he removed it, he would die. The human hesitated for only a second. Then he looked at the child again and made his choice. He moved the core closer to the child. The mother tried to speak, tried to stop him, but no sound came from her frozen throat. The human met her eyes. Through the storm, through the cold, his voice came clear. "Kids don't die alone." And as the heat touched the frozen child, the human suit began to frost over. The storm roared, and fate itself seemed to hold its breath. The heat spread slowly. At first, it was only a faint glow around the frozen child. Then the ice on the child's fingers began to melt. The alien mother watched in disbelief. Her breath stopped as she saw a small movement. The child's chest rose, then fell. Alive. A weak sound escaped the child's lips. The mother let out a broken cry, half sob, half prayer. Her body shook, not from the cold, but from shock. The human did not celebrate. His suit began to crack with ice. Frost climbed up his arms and legs like a living thing. The heat core was no longer in his chest. It was pressed gently against the child. The storm did not care about heroism. The wind howled louder, attacking the human without mercy. The alien mother forced herself to move. Pain burned through her limbs as she crawled closer. She placed her body around the child, shielding it from the wind. The human's knees hit the ground. He struggled to stay upright. The mother finally found her voice. "Stop," she said in broken trade language. "You will die." The human looked at her. His eyelashes were white with ice. His breathing was shallow. He shook his head slowly. "Worth it," he replied. Those two words confused her more than anything she had seen. No logic supported this action. No survival rule explained it. He was not saving his own kind. He was not gaining power. He was not following orders. He was dying for a stranger's child. The mother scanned him with her damaged device. Her heart tightened. His internal temperature was dropping fast. Too fast. Even if the storm stopped, he would not survive long. She looked down at her child. Color was slowly returning to the small face. Life was winning, at a terrible cost. Her species taught that survival was everything, that one life never outweighed another. But here, in front of her, was proof that some beings believed differently. She made a decision, a dangerous one. She reached into her own suit and pulled out a small energy shard. It was illegal to use, forbidden by her people. This shard was meant only for leaders, for evacuation ships. Using it here could mean death later. But later no longer mattered. She pressed the shard into the human suit. A faint warmth spread. Not enough to save him fully, but enough to slow the freezing. The human looked at her, surprised. "You shouldn't," he said weakly. She met his gaze. "My child lives," she replied. "Now so will you, if I can help it." The storm raged around them. Snow buried their legs. Time passed strangely in the cold. Seconds felt like hours. The child began to cry softly. The sound cut through the storm like a blade. The human laughed quietly, a tired, shaking sound. "That's a good sign," he said. The mother held her child close, letting the warmth continue to flow. For the first time since the great winter began, she felt something unfamiliar. Hope. High above the frozen planet, unseen eyes were watching. Orbital scanners picked up the heat spike, then the biological anomaly. A single human life sign giving up heat. Data streamed across distant screens. In a massive chamber of light and metal, the Galactic Council observed in silence. They had monitored humans for years, classified them as unstable, emotionally driven, potentially dangerous. The scene confused them. One council member leaned forward. "Explain," it demanded. An analyst replied carefully. The human removed his primary heat source to save a non-human juvenile. Silence followed. "That violates survival logic." Another voice said, "Yes," the analyst answered. "He will likely die." But the human did not die. Not yet. Back on the surface, the storm finally began to weaken. The wind slowed. The snow softened. The alien mother saw dark shapes in the distance. Ruins. An old shelter. With the last of her strength, she lifted the child. Then she grabbed the human under his arm. He groaned but did not resist. Step by step, she dragged him forward. The shelter was broken, but it blocked the wind. Inside, the temperature was slightly higher. Enough. She laid the human down. His skin was pale. His lips blue. She placed a heat core between him and the child, sharing its warmth. Minutes passed. The human's breathing steadied. Barely. The mother collapsed beside them. Exhaustion claimed her. When she opened her eyes again, the storm was gone. The child was asleep. Peacefully. Alive. The human stirred. His eyes opened slowly. He looked around, confused. Then he saw the child. He smiled. A small, honest smile. "Hey," he whispered. The mother watched him carefully. "You should not have lived," she said quietly. He shrugged weakly. Humans do that sometimes. She did not understand the words fully, but she understood the meaning. Far above them, the council made a decision. Humans were no longer just watched. They were studied, feared, respected. The cameras continued to record, because this was not just survival. This was something else, something far more dangerous. Compassion. And the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. The shelter was silent. Only the soft breathing of the child filled the dark space. The alien mother sat still, afraid to move. The human lay on the cold floor, wrapped in damaged fabric. Frost still clung to his boots. His chest rose and fell slowly. Too slowly. She watched him carefully. He had survived the storm. But survival was not the same as safety. Her scanner blinked weakly. Human life signs were unstable. She tightened her grip around the child. Her species believed kindness was a luxury of the strong. Yet this human had been weak, broken, and still chose to give everything. She did not understand it. The human opened his eyes again. Pain showed on his face, but he did not scream. "Kid okay?" he asked quietly. The translator struggled, but the meaning reached her. "Yes," she answered. "Alive. Because of you." He nodded, satisfied. "That's good," he whispered. Outside, the frozen world began to glow faintly. Not from the sun, from above. In orbit, observation drones adjusted their angles. Sensors focused. Data streamed endlessly. The Galactic Council watched every movement. This behavior is consistent, an analyst said. Humans prioritize juveniles over self-preservation. A council elder spoke slowly. "Dangerous." "Explain," another demanded. "They will sacrifice logic. They will sacrifice strategy. They will sacrifice themselves." The elder paused. Such beings cannot be predicted. Back on the planet, the alien mother stood slowly. Her legs shook, but she remained upright. She looked down at the human. "You saved my child," she said. "In my culture, this creates a life debt." The human frowned. "I didn't do it for that," he replied. She tilted her head. "Then why?" The human was silent for a long moment. He looked at the child, then at his frozen hands. "Because someone once did it for me," he said. That answer struck her deeply. She had no response. Hours passed. The shelter warmed slightly as the storm fully died. The great winter loosened its grip just a little. The child woke and cried again. This time, stronger. The mother held the child close. Tears rolled down her face, warm for once. The human tried to sit up. He failed. She quickly moved to help him. "Do not move," she ordered gently. He smiled weakly. "You aliens are bossy," he joked. She did not understand the word, but she understood the tone. Kind. Outside, a shadow passed over the land. Large. Silent. The mother stiffened. Fear rushed through her. "Ships," she whispered. Her people's ships never returned for the abandoned, but these ships were different. Sleek. Unknown. Galactic. A beam of light scanned the surface. The shelter shook slightly. The human's eyes widened. "That's not Earth tech," he said. The beam focused on them. A voice echoed inside the shelter, calm and cold. "Remain still. You're being observed." The mother stepped protectively in front of the child. The human raised one frozen hand. "Easy," he said. "They're watching, not attacking." The beam shut off. The ships remained. Above them, the council debated. "This changes nothing," one voice said. "He is one human." "He represents many," another replied. "Humans act as a collective," the analyst added. "This behavior repeats across their history." Silence followed. Finally, a decision was made. "Continue observation," the elder said, "but update classification." "From what to what?" someone asked. The elder's voice was heavy. "From potential threat to moral anomaly." Back in the shelter, the human began to shiver violently. The mother checked his temperature. Too low. Her forbidden energy shard was nearly empty. She faced a terrible truth. She could not save him alone. She made another choice. She activated the shelter's emergency beacon. A signal shot into the sky. It was old, weak, but it carried one message. "Life here." The human looked at her. "Who are you calling?" he asked. "Anyone who still remembers mercy," she replied. Minutes passed, then hours. The ships above did nothing. The child slept peacefully. The human's breathing slowed again. The mother feared she was too late. Then the ground trembled. A smaller ship descended. Not galactic. Alien. Her people. The ramp opened. Figures stepped out. Guards. Medics. Their faces were shocked. "You survived," one said. She lifted her child. "And so did Hope," she answered. They saw the human. Confusion spread among them. "A human?" one guard asked. "Why is he here?" The mother did not hesitate. "He saved my child." Silence fell. The guards exchanged looks. No order covered the situation. Finally, the medic knelt beside the human. "He is dying," the medic said. "Can you save him?" the mother asked. The medic hesitated. "He is not one of us." She stared at him. "He is one of life," she said. The medic sighed. "Bring him aboard." The human was lifted carefully. As they carried him away, his hand twitched. He looked at the mother one last time. "Kid okay?" he whispered again. She nodded. "Yes, because of you." His eyes closed. The ship lifted into the sky. Above, the Galactic Council watched the human leave the planet alive. "Barely." The elder spoke softly. "This is how it begins." "Begins what?" another asked. The elder looked at the stars. "Fear of the ones who care." The human ship disappeared into black sky. Below, the alien mother watched the trail of light fade. Her child slept peacefully, unaware of the danger above. But danger did not rest. The Galactic Council had received the live data. The heat spike, the human's selfless act, every detail of the struggle. An entire species of aliens sat in the chamber, eyes wide. They had studied humans for decades, expecting cunning, aggression, and conquest. What they saw now was something else entirely. A single human, weak, nearly dead, saving another species' child. For no reward, no gain, no reason the council could understand. "Impossible," one voice said. "Logic cannot explain this behavior," another replied. The elder leaned forward. "They do not fight for power. They fight for compassion." Whispers filled the chamber. Some council members were angry, some afraid, some curious. "How many?" a young analyst asked. "One human," the elder said, "but one is enough." Back on Cryos, the alien mother did not notice the council. She did not know that the galaxy now watched her world. She only knew one thing. The child lived. The human survived. Somehow, the human awoke, coughing weakly. He looked around the alien shelter. The mother gave him a small nod. "You're lucky," she said simply. He smiled faintly. "Luck?" he asked. "Not really," he said. "Choice." The mother did not answer. Hours passed. The storm finally ended. The planet's gray light returned. The cold was still severe, but manageable. Then a new sound appeared, a low hum, far above them. The human froze. His eyes widened. The mother followed his gaze. Ships, many ships, different from before, sleek, fast, unknown. One ship broke from the fleet. It descended rapidly toward them. The mother instinctively placed herself between the ship and the child. The human shook his head. "They're not enemies," he whispered. "They're observers." The ship landed softly. A ramp extended. Figures stepped out. They were alien, but unlike any she had seen. Tall, thin, with shining armor. They did not speak. They only watched. The human stood slowly, hands raised. "They come for observation," he explained quietly. "They don't attack. They study." The mother nodded. She knew the weight of this moment. What humans did on Cryos had already spread across the stars. Above, the Galactic Council continued its deliberation. "This must be documented," the elder said. "Every act, every moment, every word." "They will influence others," a council warned. "Other species will see their actions. They will question our logic. They will challenge our rules." "Precisely," the elder replied. "They do not fight with weapons alone. They fight with moral force." On the planet, the observers approached carefully. They scanned the child. They scanned the human. Then they scanned the mother. No one spoke. No one acted aggressively. The human sat down slowly. He looked at the mother. "Your child safe?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "And yours?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "No, I chose well." A small smile crossed her face. Time seemed to pause. The galaxy's attention hung on this moment. The observers recorded every detail, every choice, every heartbeat. Finally, they stepped back. Their leader spoke, a calm voice that resonated even without translation. "Humans are unique," the voice said. The mother glanced at the human. He gave no response. He only nodded, understanding the weight of the statement. The observers turned and left. Their ships ascended. The hum faded into the black sky. Below, the mother held her child. She looked up at the stars. She felt small, but somehow part of something larger. The human shifted, still weak. "You did good," he said quietly. "Better than I could alone." She smiled faintly. "Better than most of us would." They sat in silence. The stars watched. The galaxy listened. Far away, the council made another decision. "Humans are no longer merely unpredictable," the elder said. "They are moral anomalies. They cannot be ignored." Another voice asked, "Will they be dangerous?" The elder's eyes narrowed. "Not in the way you fear. They are dangerous in the way they inspire." Back on Cryos, the storm had passed. The sun struggled to shine through the gray clouds. Snow melted in small streams. The child stirred again, laughing softly. The mother looked at the human. "Why did you help?" she asked. He looked at her, tired but determined. "Someone had to," he said. "Someone always does." Her heart felt heavy with understanding and awe. This was what humans did. They changed the world not with weapons, but with choices. Above, distant worlds recorded the act. Others whispered of it. Some species would never forget. The child played in the snow. The mother smiled, watching carefully. The human lay down again, exhausted but alive. A new era had begun. The galaxy had taken notice. And one simple truth echoed across the void. Humans did not conquer with force. They conquered with care. The days passed slowly on Cryos. Snow had softened, but the cold never fully left. The alien mother and her child survived. The human stayed with them, weak but recovering. The mother watched him carefully. Every breath, every movement, every small smile. The human had saved her child. He had given everything. And yet, he asked nothing in return. Above them, the galaxy stirred. Reports of the act spread from system to system. Other species began to talk. "They are not like us," one leader whispered. "They do not act for advantage," another said. "They act for others," a third concluded. The council recorded every instance. The humans' courage and compassion became a legend across alien worlds. Some species felt admiration. Some felt unease. Some felt fear. Fear, not of weapons, not of conquest, but of care. Care that could inspire others. Care that could break logic. Care that could make allies out of enemies. Back on the planet, the alien mother taught her child how to survive in the harsh cold. But the child always asked about the human. "Will he stay?" the child asked. The mother shook her head. "No, humans do not stay," she said softly. "They act, they move, but they leave a mark." The human watched silently. He smiled faintly, touched by the bond between mother and child. He had done his part. Now he knew the child's life was secure, yet he felt something strange. This planet, these aliens, they had trusted him. They had accepted his help, without expectation. He had not experienced that before. Days later, distant scouts arrived. They were not hostile. They were curious. They observed from afar, recording every action of the mother, the child, and the human. The alien mother did not understand why they came, but she felt their eyes. She sensed their caution. The human explained quietly. "They are recording," he said. "They watch humans carefully, and now they watch you too." The mother frowned. "Why us?" "They will never forget what happened," he replied. "They will learn." And indeed they did. Stories traveled across star systems. Stories of a human who gave life to another species' child. Stories of hope and courage. The galaxy began to change its perception of humans. They were no longer just strong, cunning, and reckless. They were also compassionate. Every military report, every council log, every historical record added this tale. Humans did not fight only with weapons. They fought with morals, with heart, with sacrifice. Back on Cryos, the alien mother finally spoke the truth she had been holding. "You have done what no one in my world would dare," she said to the human. He smiled faintly. "I only did what any human could do," he replied. She shook her head. "No, you did more than survive. You gave life. You gave hope. You showed us what it means to care." The child laughed, crawling toward the human. The human reached out gently. He held the child, feeling warmth he had not expected. Then a sound broke their peace. Ships, many ships, faster than before. The mother froze. The child clung to her, but the human remained calm. "They've come for him," he said softly. "Him? Who?" the mother asked. "The human," he replied, pointing to himself weakly. "They want to study him and us." The ships landed silently. Figures emerged. Observers. Researchers. They did not attack. They only watched. The mother stepped in front of her child. "I will protect him," she said firmly. The human shook his head. "No, let them watch." "It's already begun," he said. The observers scanned the area. They recorded the human, the mother, and the child. Every detail. Every heartbeat. Finally, the lead observer spoke. "Humans are extraordinary. Their compassion disrupts expected behavior patterns." The mother looked at the human. He nodded, understanding the weight of the statement. The observers left without taking action. But the message was clear. The galaxy was learning. Humans were not to be underestimated. Not for strength, not for weapons, for the choices they made. The mother held her child close. The child looked at the human, wide-eyed. "You saved me," the child whispered. "Yes," the human replied, smiling faintly. "And now you will grow strong, because someone cared enough to give you life." Above, in distant worlds, leaders debated. Some feared humans. Some admired them. Some realized humans would change the galaxy, not by force, but by example. The mother looked at the human one last time. "Your choice has changed everything," she said softly. He smiled, tired but content. "Not me alone," he said. "Humans do it together, even if you don't see all of us." The child laughed again, crawling into the human's arms. The mother smiled. The galaxy watched silently, knowing the story would echo for centuries. And one truth was clear. The universe fears not the humans who fight, but the humans who care. The sun barely broke through the gray clouds of cryos, casting a faint glow on the snow-covered land. The alien mother and her child walked carefully across the soft white landscape. The human followed slowly, still weak but alive. The child laughed, the sound ringing like a bell in the silent world. The mother smiled, warmth returning to her heart. She looked at the human, the one who had risked everything for a child he did not know. And in that moment, she realized something extraordinary. "You saved more than my child," she said quietly. "You saved hope itself." The human shook his head. "No," he replied softly. "Humans don't do it for praise. We do it because someone has to." Above them, the galaxy took notice. Reports from distant systems were flooding the councils. Humans were being discussed not for their weapons, not for their technology, but for their compassion. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. "This cannot be ignored," an elder said. "A single human has altered perceptions across multiple species." Analysts nodded. "They act outside logic," one said, "sacrificing themselves to save others. They inspire loyalty, fear, and respect without firing a shot." Meanwhile, on Cryos, life slowly returned to the abandoned world. The mother taught her child how to survive, how to endure the cold, how to find strength in the harshest conditions. The human watched silently. He knew his presence was temporary. Humans did not stay. They acted and moved on, leaving the world a little better than they found it. But his mark remained. The child looked up at him, eyes wide with admiration. "You are brave," the child said. The human smiled faintly. "Not brave," he said. "Careful. Care is bravery in a world like this." The alien mother nodded, understanding finally. This was why humans had spread across the stars so quickly. Not because of weapons, not because of conquest, because humans could inspire others to survive. The hope to act with courage when all seemed lost. As days passed, distant species began to adjust their behavior. All across the galaxy, records of this event were cited as examples. Stories of humans saving aliens became lessons in schools. Legends were told of the human who walked into a frozen world to save a child. Back on Cryos, the child ran across the snow, laughing, the human chasing him slowly, struggling to keep up. The mother watched them, a feeling she had never known in decades flooding her chest. Pride, gratitude, and a strange sense of awe. The human finally stopped, kneeling in the snow, breathing heavily, frost still clinging to his worn suit. The child hugged him tightly. The mother smiled, tears welling up. "This will be remembered," she whispered. "You've changed the way we see life." The human looked at her. "Not me alone," he said. "Humans are many. All of us do it in different ways. Some fight, some build, some care when it matters most." She nodded. "Yes, and now we will teach others." High above, the Galactic Council observed silently. This one act of kindness had rippled through countless systems. The analysts recorded every moment. Historians took note. Military strategists took note, not because of fear, but because humans were dangerous in a way the galaxy had never measured before. Through simple choices, through moral courage, through care. On Cryos, the human finally stood. "I should go," he said. "You have life to protect. I have worlds to reach." The mother stepped forward. "Will you ever return?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "Maybe, but my mark will remain. Your child will carry it. And through them, the universe will remember." The child waved, the sound of laughter echoing. The mother held her child close, eyes fixed on the human as he walked into the horizon. The galaxy, far above, watched silently. And for the first time, many species realized something new. Humans do not conquer by force. They conquer by refusing to let a child die. They conquer by inspiring hope. They conquer by care. The wind blew gently across Cryos. The snow sparkled. The child ran. The mother followed. And the memory of a human who risked everything remained. And somewhere, far away, the human smiled. He had changed the world without a single battle. And the galaxy would never forget it. Years passed on Cryos. The snow had softened, but the cold never left completely. The alien child grew, learning to survive in the harsh white world. And always beside the child was a memory of a human who had risked everything. The mother watched her child carefully. Every step, every laugh, every question about the universe. "How far do humans go?" the child asked one day. The mother smiled softly. "Farther than you can imagine," she said. "They do what others will not." Far away, the human moved from planet to planet, system to system. He never returned to Cryos. Yet somehow, the mark of his sacrifice remained. Other humans, unknown to Cryos, carried the same care and courage across the stars. The child grew strong, learning lessons of survival, morality, and hope. The mother taught the importance of compassion, even when logic said otherwise. "Your life is precious," she said, "and so is the life of others." Meanwhile, news of the Humans Act continued to ripple across civilizations. Alien species debated, studied, and recorded every detail. Reports labeled humans as moral anomalies, unpredictable but powerful. The child looked up at the stars nightly. "Will I see him again?" the child asked. The mother shook her head. "Perhaps not, but his choices will guide you." Then one day, a small ship descended quietly onto Cryos. It did not bring weapons. It did not bring soldiers. It brought knowledge. Humans had left gifts, tools, instructions, and messages. Every item carefully chosen to ensure the survival and growth of the alien species. The mother understood the meaning. Even when humans leave, they leave hope behind. The child held one of the small human devices. It glowed softly. A message played. Live. Protect. Learn. Do not forget that someone cared enough to risk everything for you. The mother and child looked at each other. Tears formed in their eyes. "This is their gift," she whispered, "and we will honor it." Time passed further. The child became a teacher, a protector, a symbol of hope. The story of a human spread to every corner of Cryos. It inspired others to act, to care, and to risk for life. And somewhere, far away, the human continued his journey. Every planet he visited, every child he saved, every act of care echoed across the galaxy. The legacy of one choice, one sacrifice, grew. Humans were not just survivors. They were beacons of hope. The mother watched her child stand tall in the snow, the stars shining above, carrying the story forward. A single act had changed not only one child's life, but the future of an entire species. And the galaxy would remember, humans do not conquer by force. They conquer by inspiring care, hope, and courage. Years had passed. Cryos had survived the great winter. The snow still covered much of the land, but life had returned. The alien child, now grown, stood tall on the icy cliffs, watching the horizon. The mother stood beside them, proud and wise. The child turned to her. "Will he ever come back?" The mother shook her head gently. "Perhaps not, but he left something stronger than his presence. The lessons he taught, the courage he inspired, the hope he gave." Far above Cryos, satellites recorded subtle signs of life returning. Forests of frozen plants began to regrow. The rivers, once frozen solid, carried water again. Even the snow seemed softer, as if touched by kindness. The child, now a young leader in their community, carried the humans' legacy in their heart. They taught others the value of caring, of risking for life, of standing when hope seemed lost. And soon, Cryos began to change. Neighboring planets sent observers. They studied Cryos. They noted the survival of a species that had once been abandoned. And they learned of the human who risked everything to save one child. The story spread like a quiet fire. Across systems, species whispered tales of human who acted not for glory, not for gain, but for life itself. The mother watched the child train others. "You carry his courage," she said softly, "and now you will carry it forward. The galaxy will remember not just humans, but all who acted care." Meanwhile, the human traveled beyond known systems. He saved countless others, but he never returned to Cryos. He did not need to. His actions had already taken root. Somewhere in a distant council chamber, species debated humans endlessly. They act against logic, one said. They inspire loyalty without force, another replied. They are dangerous, a third concluded. Not in weapons, the first added, but in hope. Back on Cryos, the grown child stood under the night sky. Stars glittered like diamonds. And for the first time, they understood the vastness of the galaxy and the far reach of one human's choice. Do you think you'll ever know what he did? The child asked. The mother smiled. Perhaps not, but you do. And now, every life you save will echo what he began. The wind whispered across the icy cliffs, carrying the faint memory of courage, sacrifice, and care. It was a quiet reminder that even in the coldest worlds, warmth could exist. The child walked forward, leading others. The mother followed, guiding with wisdom and strength. And far away, the human continued his journey across the stars, leaving hope wherever he went. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were not merely survivors or conquerors. They were teachers of hope. Their victories were not measured by power, but by the lives they saved, the courage they inspired, and the choices they made when all else failed. On Cryos, life flourished. Children laughed in the snow. Families rebuilt. Communities thrived. And every time a child lived when death seemed certain, someone whispered the story of the human who had defied fate for another's life. The mother held her child close, looking at the stars. "We are not alone," she whispered, "because someone cared enough to change everything." And somewhere far across the universe, a human smiled, moving quietly from one world to the next. He would never see the full impact of his actions, but the galaxy would remember forever. Humans do not conquer by force. They conquer by inspiring hope, care, and courage. And that is the true power of humanity. The wind blew gently across Cryos. Snow sparkled under the stars. Life went on. Hope endured. And the story of one human's choice echoed across the galaxy, unbroken and eternal.